understand that that's business, brought you out of darkness. Like all other places, we have problems, but when they come, we help to solve them, internally or otherwise, whichever way we think is wise. Oh, sweet spice land, good-natured Grenadians, overwhelmingly glad we ought to be of our country. Foreigners have recommended it highly, hand in hand for a better land of people who can understand that that's business, right out of darkness. Years as we march on for progress, hoping everyone will do it.
Welcome brothers, welcome sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and call us. The number is 442-0175. You know we never have a subject matter, and we don't mind if you open bowl. You could open bowl with spins, or you could bowl fast. We could take anything, you know. Remember, we are on the Real FM 91.9, 91.5. We are on YouTube, Facebook, 94.9. That is Real Noise FM in Brooklyn. And you could put us anywhere you want. That is the beauty of the technology. We have to guard. We have to guard our freedom of expression secretly. There are always groups of people who don't want you to express yourself. You see what is being done to Jenny Simon. Effort is made to intimidate her, you know, to maul her, to prevent, to frighten her. You heard the story about Real FM. Some people advocated close it down, jail people. You see what's going on in the parliament? Well, some of the women are spied on. It's all a way to stifle the press, to stifle free speech. We had the experience between 1983 and 1979. 1979, March 13, and 1983, October, when freedom of speech was stifled in Grenada. We mustn't go back there. We mustn't go back there. The people in Iran don't have that freedom. The people in Israel have freedom of speech. The people in Russia and China don't have that freedom. The people in the United States of America could call Trump all kind of rich. And some of them deserve it. But we in Grenada have to guard. We have to guard jealously our freedom. Because there are people who want to take that freedom away from you. And that's why we give you an opportunity when we're on this program to express yourself. You don't have to have no command of the English language. Just listen to us. You know we can speak English good. But you could call, we encourage you to be respectful, and you could express your opinion. And we always advocate the truth. We must live in the house of truth. Sometimes we end up in the veranda. But we must live in the house of truth. When you say something last week or yesterday, you don't have to try to remember it today. When you speak in the truth, you don't have to try to remember. That is why they say liars have no memory. We have issue with a lot of people, you know, but while I wait on your call, I want to take some issue with the Caribbean heads of government. I don't agree with the laziness, the hesitancy, the kind of reluctancy of our leaders in CARICOM. Our leaders must lead, and they must not be afraid of controversial issues. That is where you determine your leader, you know. Your leader mustn't hide. They must not fear controversial issues. We have the Caribbean heads of government at a meeting recently. Donald Trump have a policy where he decided to get rid of illegal immigrants. And I don't disagree with him. You cannot have a country where you have millions of people on the border of a third country sneaking in on your border. Yes, that happened all the time in history. And the United States of America is a big country, they could have absorbed it. But now they believe it is overwhelming. Immigrants from 160 countries all over the world go to Mexico to cross the U.S. border. Trump says sending them back. CARICOM countries should immediately put out a communique encouraging all illegal immigrants in America to come back home. Come back home, you illegal. Don't stay in America illegally. ICE go hold you. They might beat you up and put you in handcuffs. Come back home. And the country should discourage Grenadians and other CARICOM countries, citizens, from going in America illegally at this time. They could even have set up a bipartisan, I don't know if that is the right one, I don't want it heavily politicized, committee to facilitate the process. It might be technical, it might be somebody need information, somebody hiding in a cellar in America don't want to come out, and he could communicate with you, and you could communicate with ICE and say these people want to come home. But this inactivity and this cry baby attitude of CARICOM leaders is unacceptable. Grenada government, Dick Mitchell, you have not done nothing good so far. So do something good now. Call on Grenadian illegal immigrants in America to come home. And foreign affairs, discourage Grenadians from going in America illegally at this time. We want more Grenadians here. St. Patrick's alone need 20,000 people. If we get them one time, it's going to cause some logistic problem. But over the next 5 years, you need 20,000 people in. And you can't wait on us women to make children. All women not making children. One and a half. So we need our immigrants a way to come back. We could even take some Venezuelan and some Haitian too. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, I thought you opened back this morning.
I like to.
Well, you did open back, but late.
I like to face the new ball.
Go right ahead.
Before we get down into the real meat of the matter, because your program is so informative, I expect callers to share their views. I want to congratulate the new National Party yesterday for a successful meeting at River Road. The meeting was well attended. I like the spirit of the people who were there, showing how interested they are, and that give us a clear indication that the new National Party is going places. So those distractors who is wishing us bad would not get through with their wishes. The new National Party, I'm not saying that we haven't got a lot of work to do, but it showed a very good sign. Our political leader came out with a very good message. One thing again, Mr. Pierre, I want to say is, I want to know what we do. $4 million was passed in a general warrant at the end of the year for all the different ministries. And so early in the game, you hear a government asking to borrow 725. Something not right. Something not adding up right. I believe this government needs to give us some more accountability. They should have some more transparency. I wonder, they had a former leader who used to preach. That was the policy of the NDC. But now it gets worse. And I want to believe some of this money will be for recurrent expenditure. some of the good fans saying it will be for capital project. I believe some will go into recurrent expenditure. So we're heading for trouble. Grenadians, take note. We want a good government back in this country, which I believe we have the expertise in the NNP. We have the people with all the experience. Our leader is not left alone. She have the support of old veterans to guide her. So she cannot make no fundamental mistake. So again, Mr. Pierre, I thank you.
Yes, my brother, and you should not be surprised of NDC. Based upon the track record of NDC in the 2008-2013 period, and the fact that this group is the worst group a politician ever in Grenada, don't expect much from them. We have to pray they sell now our sign this time. They could well end up leaving government with an economy in free fall and Grenada facing again structural adjustment program with an angry IMF and World Bank. Now a lot of people in Grenada and Africa and the Caribbean always blaming colonialism and the International Monetary Fund and the IMF. But these organizations come in your country to help you manage your country. If you're managing well, you don't need them. And the financial institution that borrowing your money, they want to lose their money. So they take the counsel of these international organizations. We ordinary Grenadians have to understand that. If you could manage your money, you also got no managers. That is why the government of Grenada legislated discipline. Perhaps it's the first time in the Caribbean you saw that government passed laws to discipline themselves. What are the laws they pass? Yes, Colonel, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre. Good day.
Yes, my brother.
I want to talk about two things today.
Go right ahead.
Now, Michael Francis worked for about years and resigned. You are listening?
Yeah.
And resigned. And he don't do work in the proper way. And now I understand he working again with Miss Gloria. That is the advantage. You listen, sir?
Yeah, I heard you, yeah.
That is the advantage I find. I want the Prime Minister to see about that. That is a wrong thing to do. Young people fighting for work they can get, and you have this man drawing how much money and he's still working. That's not fair. That's not fair, Mr. Pierre.
And the second issue.
Yeah, not fair.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll talk about Mr. Gloria tomorrow, please God.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Okay. Well, one of the realities you have to face in Grenada, and this thing fall back, the NDC bashed everybody in the previous election. He said they old, what they're working for, they retire. But when you examine the NDC have a number of retired people that they employ. If you remember when they just come in, first time in Grenada we had advisory lead. Agriculture in particular had about 10 or 12 persons with advisory leading. They should write a book. They should come up with a master plan for agriculture. Instead of that, the Minister of Agriculture talking about lunatic and idiot, about truck to pick golden apple and mango, about net to collect seaweed. Caller, yes, welcome, caller.
Hello, Mr. Pierre.
Yes,
good afternoon.
Welcome.
I'm calling from Riverside.
Yes, good.
Last week, Thursday, I heard a man was talking about Crafton Maguire. I was a member of the club Mr. Maguire has. And that was the best we ever have in River Valley. And that is what we need now with them young children, to learn to dance, to learn to sing, and then to talk to people good when they meet them on the road. Mr. Maguire was a teacher. He was like a father to us. And right now, one in the lady what was in the club with me, she does sing in the Catholic Church in River Valley. Mr. Maguire trained us to sing. He trained us to read. We go all about in Carriacou, in that folk club, and sing and dance in Carriacou, in Harveyville, in the school. And Mr. Pett, that is what we need today in Grenada with them young children. For them to learn to do something to bring up Grenada up. Not what they're doing now, passing on the road, don't telling people hello, nothing like that. And that is what we need now in Grenada. Thank you very much.
Remember Chupu and Mr. Arnold? You remember Chupu and Arnold?
No, Mr. P. I remember, I was living in River Valley. I remember Spaceman. And then he have a next one where they used to call, he had it land right down in a place they call in Savan, Swayze, Simon Charles.
Yeah.
All the people and them, they die and they go. But they will always be the hero in them old people mind for what they do for River Valley. And that is what we need now. Last week I passed where Mr. Maguire stayed. And Mr. Maguire was my teacher. In River Valley Glee Club, we used to call it. Dancing, when tourists come, we go in with dancing, we sing. Come them tourists and them folk in Grenada.
Yes,
that is what we need right now in Grenada. Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sometimes different governments have different spin on it. During that time, culture was a thing that was highly promoted. Culture and sports and groups. And there was a lot of voluntary organization. The teachers was deeply involved in community groups. Now teachers don't meddle with that again. Even St. Patrick's here, a lot of the teachers from musical band, combo band, cricket, sports, the teachers was deeply involved in it. And to help to raise the bar on the block. And Mr. Maguire was a good example. A patriot, an individual that could have got work in any country go. But he remained, perhaps, if he was in Jamaica, he'd have been a big star. But he remained in his community. And the contribution they make is immeasurable. You can't measure it, but they contributed significantly. Today we kind of shun on these things, and everybody wants to play the more important and the bigger than the community. I have advocated seriously. When you use government money to get an education, you have an obligation to help your community. The amount of academia, intelligentsia, bright people with certificate we have in River Valley. If they come back and if they were identifying with the community, River Valley would have produced a lot of prodigies. You notice you don't hear about no prodigy in Grenada. Too many of the people that government spend money on. I'm not talking about the private sector. If a man take the private money and you educate the child don't want to come back. But if you use government money, you have a responsibility, you have an obligation, you have a duty to come back and help your community. When they don't watch you, you're like nothing because you didn't go in the United States to get some million. You stay in the community and share the talents, the time, and the wealth that you amass with your community. I believe that we should, anybody we give education up to national college, beyond secondary school, we should put them on a bond for 20 years. If after that you spend 10 years and you do a bachelor's degree, I top it up again, 20 years. Because you use the state money to advance your education. You have an obligation and a responsibility to the state. Don't tell me about no 5 years agreement. When you train a doctor for 5 years, kill half of the people that he had trained in the first 5 years. And when you get good now, you go to America and other countries and work. How that could make sense? You have poor countries constantly educating people for the developed countries. Grenada and St. Vincent and the other smaller countries, they're like a factory producing intelligentsia for the developed world. Well, how that could make sense? Look at what is going on the block. If you on the block, you have the doctor, you have the lawyer, you have the teacher, you have the bank clerk, you have the thief. The bar must change. But when you go on the block, you have 22 fellas, 90 of them go in jail. It's only likely that you go in jail too. And the lawyers tricking you. They're taking some of the old women money and telling them they have a good case. And the man in a case telling the people to plead guilty. When last you hear a lawyer win a murder case in Grenada? Any serious case, when last you hear the winner case? Then the government come and passing draconian laws. Yes, caller, welcome.
I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Good day, senior.
Thank God we have a million for you to cry. If it wasn't a revolution, we jail.
Yeah, for crying out.
Yes.
And this is why I love Grenada so much. It's my constitutional right to speak. And everybody's supposed to respect that. The people not in South and not Korea wish that they could have said what I'm saying here. Senior, I am making a clarion call to this administration. I repeat, I am making a clarion call to this incompetent administration. Please get the garbage off the playing field in Carriacou and Pitimatnik by all means necessary. It is time for children to play. It is time to remove this garbage out of all our playing fields. It is dangerous for the children. They cannot enjoy the physical education. Look how long Barry Latas. I have a daughter that living in St. Vincent, and she said each and every piece of the metal and everything, like all this and all that, Trinidad already took it, and they're already recycling it. They took it. What this administration is waiting for, move it and give the children some breathing space, man. What is still doing there? Garbage. There are better place in Carriacou that they could have piled up this garbage besides Hillsborough, Harveyville, Dover. Come on, man, give me a break, no man. Come on, who cares about this country, man? Secondly, I was picking up some information from a very good friend of mine, within the walls of the government. And that MP said, Pastor Louis Watchman, let me tell you something. Deacon Mitchell don't care about Grenadian boy, but I can talk. I'm working for my money. He said, I can't talk, He said, this man watching us like a hawk. We can't say nothing. I said, why, that is why all you get this amount of money, because all you can talk. But at the ending of the day, money don't buy integrity, man. Come out and say something. And finally, this $725 million, some of this money is for recurrent expenditure. Senior, right now all the projects in Carriacou that they claim will rebuild in back of people's houses, all that is on hold until the budget don't read. And this administration know that is not going to get back into power. So some of the $725 million, some of them going out, smiling, because they go take some. Have a good day.
Yes, well, you call on the government alone, but my call is bigger. The government and the opposition, the teachers' union, GNO, civil organization, the private sector, and those ex-principals in Carriacou. You retire, you know that is not right. In the face of a disaster of that magnitude in Carriacou, where schools were not able to open, I don't know which psychologist that is around that could stay silent. How could you occupy the playing field with garbage? There were other places to put the garbage. The playing field is an integral part of the therapy to deal with the trauma resulting from burial. I don't know, something has to be wrong with us. How could you occupy the playing field? The Grenada Union of Teachers, I believe, should be the one making the most noise. Sometimes I tell you, the teachers in our country, you all have to wear a tear. The productivity level in school is unacceptable, not only in Grenada, throughout the whole Caribbean. And don't surprise, it might be worse in other islands than Grenada. 70% of the children that exit school in Grenada cannot meet the minimum requirement. And when I speak, I dare you, I challenge you to take me on. And I know you're ashamed to tell me the right statistics. So I'm saying 70%. You can argue with me. Now, how that could be? Government spend about 10 to 11% of the GDP on education. More money than a lot of developed countries. Our teachers today are paid better than any other time in our history. The quality of our schools, the building, the ambience is better than any other time in our history. The technology involved in school today is better than any other time in our history. More than 20% of our teachers drive themselves to school. So that means we have done better, we have improved, you have more discretionary income. Yes, caller, tell us.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, good to hear your voice.
Never mind. Now, Mr. Pierre, whatever I need to talk about, now, you see, after some lands up in Gotobe, that's after Berle Junction come up, in the Bongidio and Chetley and MD. And you don't see this place there. It's a real dumping place, man. I want you to talk about that because this is the Bongui with you and this is Zephyr and Chetley and them. Mr. Pierre, old bed, old fruit, all kind of things. When they walk out, all the water not, all the old thing is behind the bridges going, and the people them that they are getting paid to go and throw it in the dump up in that place up there. Why they have to do that? That's a thing I want you to talk about this dumping thing up in the boundary line with you, and this is different, and also where you renting there. Come along again, Come along, Mr. Pierre. If you see that place, that you have to talk about because this is not looking too good with you and the farmers and in Bongui line. That's it. I mean, too much, man, too much. In case you have a blessed man.
Thank you. You see, I didn't want to steal your thunder. Using man let's talk about road and truck up there. So I didn't want to steal your thunder. I was waiting for you to speak about this thing. Because for years you specialize on agriculture and road. I didn't want to interfere with you. And I don't hear you call me a long time. You must call me and speak about these things. Either busy with Deacon, raiding the bank, and traveling all about with that individual and say rich. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
You keep speaking about the education system and the level at which it's at today. Who is responsible for the situation that we're in today in Grenada? Mr. Pierre,
Yes, scholar.
who is responsible for the state of the educational system in
I
Grenada
think
today?
all of us in the Caribbean is responsible for what's going on in the Caribbean. Don't expect to wait on England or America or China. We in the Caribbean have to solve this problem. I speaking out to provoke the discussion.
I agree. So the mere fact that the last government was there for 10 years, what have they done to help the situation? What did they do? The last government in power. Name me three things they did that was geared to help the situation that we're in today.
You want me? Okay. All right, thank you, Carl. I'll give you three things the government did. Thank you. I speak on education to provoke the discussion. And I believe the last government tried. I remember the COVID-19 was there. And I saw every effort the government made to keep the children in school. The government got resistance from the teachers, the opposition, and the public. And I saw Emmeline Pierre, Mr. Steele, Kit Mitchell, Gregory Boyne, Miss Modest, battling every day with discussion on the radio, saying we have to have our children in school. The government put computer system. Children was on Zoom to get the children in school. And I don't know if there was kneeling down and begging the teachers. We have to have our children in school. And I thought that the government was on the right trajectory. Education is not an easy thing to handle. And all of us have to be on board with it. But I think the last government tried. But we need a bigger effort than government. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah. Now, when we talk about the education system, it is also important to understand that Eric Matthew Gary sort of challenged the system of education in Grenada when he started building those junior secondary schools, understanding that every student cannot be a doctor, a scientist, or whatever. So, to make it short, he built those junior secondary schools, which was regarded for technical and vocational education. And so, we can count them. GSS, Boca, Happy Hill, Hillsborough Secondary School, Montrose Comprehensive, Waltham, Wesley College. All these schools was equipped, to do technical and vocational education. He also sent Gordon Hamilton to Mona because he was an artist to develop his skill in a greater way, to come in those junior secondary schools and teach children art. So you could have leave school as a carpenter, a mason, an electrician, a musician, So that is how, the education system was changed. He broadened. In other words, he broadened the curriculum. So this thing about dumb children and bright children, that should have been a thing of the past. When you go to secondary school for 5 years, you shouldn't come out empty-handed. You should come out with some sort of a skill, to develop yourself. And Eric Matthew Gary must be remembered for broadening the curriculum in our country. And beyond that, it is also important to note that when under this program, that when we speak of community hero, our lady just spoke about Crafton Maguire and Mr. Simon Charles. And Mr. Simon Charles was a maker in the development of the credit union in River Valley. So it is important that our young people today must know the movers and shakers of the different things they see in our community and who was the people who propelled it. Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, Scholar, and the Scholar wanted to go back 10 years, but as you on it, Gary built 28 school in 13.5 years. St. George's University, technical education, pre-education, and well, I didn't land for the landless program. But the St. George's University recognized Dr. Kit Mitchell as the Prime Minister of Education. More scholarship was given during any period of Kit Mitchell time than any period in any other government time. But what I'm speaking about is productivity in education. We have to stop just going after government. I said government spend 11% of the GDP on education. It means all government. Yes, Scholar, welcome. Yes, Scholar.
Mr. Pierre, you're deviating from the point. I'm not asking you what Gary did. I'm saying in the last 10 years.
I started.
What has the last government done?
Okay,
What has the Minister of Education done in the last 10 years? I don't care what Gary did. Gary did well. Morris did well. What did the last government do?
Colin, you heard me start speaking about what the government did when somebody did it. But the fact that a Prime Minister, Kit Mitchell, the St. George's University recognized him as the Prime Minister of... Caller.
Yeah, but
Caller. Come on. If you ask the question, you have to give me a chance to answer. If you want to rebut, go ahead and make an next contribution.
But did he provide buses for students to go to school?
That's not necessary. That waste of time thing. Caller, this thing what Deacon doing, that waste of time thing. You have not listened to my solution to address that already. What Deacon doing is stupid, Scholar. Pure waste of time thing. Deacon just trying to get our money to give some friends eyes. That is a waste of time thing. Believe it or not, we have a country with 68,000 vehicles, 110,000 people. What we have need is management of transport, not more transport. And the fact we're speaking about is not transportation. The children going to school but they don't learn. The children going to school but the productivity level is low. This boils down straight to delivery. That's why I didn't include the government. I said the government spending 11% of the GDP on education. More than most developed countries. So I take out the government. Welcome, Father. So I take out the government. Now we're dealing with the delivery. The people who teaching the children, they're not doing a good job. And the parents, they are not hungry for education. And we on this side have to encourage them. You have to encourage parents to hungry for education. Parents, yes, Scholar, welcome.
I'm crying again because I'm trying to understand. The former administration is not in office. Why it is whenever these callers and them call, you always refer to what Kit Mitchell and the NNP do. Stop the whining and crying. Kit Mitchell administration is not in office.
But you have fairness to the callers. And if you never do nothing good, so it don't make sense find out what are good.
Yeah.
When you have to delay, you must ask what NNP do.
Yeah, because what I'm saying, man, if it break, fix the damn thing, man.
But then how they go fix it? They can't fix it.
Every time you call and ask this stupid question, what the former administration do? Government is a continuum. Stop your stupidness, no, man. So if Kit Mitchell didn't do it, this present administration have a right to let it slide. Man, if it break, fix it, man, and stop all your stupidness. Thank you.
You see, in all fairness to the caller, the NDC do have a history of doing nothing much, except bringing the country into disrepute and the economy into free fall. So when you raise a subject matter, they have to ask what NNP did. And NNP must know what NNP did. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, I realize that the Islamists have maybe a representative or a spokesperson leader who continues to spread the propaganda and trying to make the Jewish people look as though they are evil people. Now, when the terrorists invaded Israel, they murdered, they raped, they put little babies in oven to bake, right? A whole pile of atrocities. That individual said that never happened. It was AI. Imagine that recently, the Bibas family, the terrorists, they released the two dead babies, 9 months old and 4 years. The information showed that they were strangled with bare hands. Look at the abuse that the Israeli people keep on going through with these terrorists. You know, and what is interesting is that it isn't only in Israel that people are going through hell with these terrorists and them. Look at the Democratic Republic of Congo. Recently, they chopped off 70 Christians' heads. This morning, when the sympathizer speaking, he never mentioned that in Nigeria, you have every year a number of persons are being raped, murdered, the Christians and them, raped, murdered, kidnapped by the same terrorists and them, and nothing is being said about it. Mr. Pierre, these terrorists and them, these Islamists, according to their doctrine, we have no right to exist. Everybody who believes in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they have no right to exist. Forced conversion. The day they take control of Grenada or any country, they take control of our freedom gone. And the thing about it is that, you know, the communists, the left, always support the terrorists. And we in Grenada have to be on the lookout, because according to Malcolm X, these guys behave like foxes. And I realize that they have a movement which they call the movement. The question is, where are they moving us to? Is it back into communism? Mr. Pierre, there is a strategy in place. You see, they said that Grenada have 2 center-right political parties. So they have a movement now, and that movement is to move the Grenadian people to the left, communism, socialism, or whatever they call it. The days of our freedom will be numbered once they get into power. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah, well, we have to know these things, and we mustn't afraid to discuss issue. The atheists, the Marxists, Leninists, and the Muslims, sometimes they work together conveniently. And some Christians, and I think sometimes they infiltrate the Christian hierarchy. Because when I see a number of Christians was able to comfortable trying to defend, dipping, dabbling in their cult, and trying to evoke Maurice Bishop's spirit, I was taken aback. And even during the experiment with the revolution, that experiment had a lot of favor with Christianity. The Christians remained quiet. So in Grenada, you could describe it as a lot of atheists and Marxist Leninist cells that seems to waking up. Our people have to be careful. But don't worry. If you're not careful, you'll feel it in your belly, according to what T.U.C. Kawana say. You see, we have to think. Because I'm back on education. We have to wake up where education is concerned. It is not what the government did or what the government don't do. Grenada government have always been investing in education. The government spending 10 to 11% of the GDP on education, and that has been relatively constant. And that is more than what some developing countries spend. And some of the things I say, all the governments could take credit for it. The challenge we have is children going to school and they're not learning. And we have It seems a new phenomenon is creeping in the school. I call it the pussification of the males. We have young males going to school and they seem to be pussified. They're coming up from school without a basic education. The government is passing draconian laws. So a lot of your sons would end up in jail. When they cannot get a good police record, it's difficult for them to get a job in a supermarket. Not even security with the government. They have to present a police record to get a security work with government. To get a work in M&M. To get a work with the construction companies. So more and more you see more women involved in the security of our country. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Yeah. More and more you see more women. This have a serious issue for the family. You have young women who have children, have to go and get jobs in security because their boyfriend can't get the job. Because he can't get a good police record. So who takes care of the children in the night? This is a formula for broken families. It seems there is a movement out to destroy families. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I hear you there talking about education, this, education, that. In the early days, you had male teachers in school. They used to teach boys and girls. Today, all you have is women teachers. All the teaching is them girls. They forget to hear boy care in this. So you must expect the education to drop. Because all the teachers in school is women. And they can't do a good job. And they will never be able to do a good job. Because what they're doing, they're trying to degrade men, make men look at schools, and them can't do the job. They can't do the job, they can't teach them boys children up, they can't teach them girls children up. So our education is going down. The women and them, they're disabling the education system, they're dragging it to the bottom. And you're talking about men have a role in society and the women and them trying to dismiss you. Now, in this country today, they bring out Kid Mitchell and the NMP bring a woman to destroy this country. These people and them, they destroy the marketing board. NMP and Kid Mitchell and them, they destroy the marketing board. They take over $15 million.
What you're saying is true. I always try to encourage you. You know how tolerant I want to be. But I always encourage you. Caller. I always encourage you to stick with the truth. You're doing such a nice thing like education, where all of us agree that the education system, the productivity level is not good. We are not here to blame the women or blame the men or blame the government. We're pointing out the view that the productivity level in school is not good. I have been appealing to parents to wake up, be hungry for education, start to teach your 5-year-old children at home. A woman asked me, what she go teach your child? I said, teach them the name of the flowers in the garden, because she likes flowers. You imagine a 4-year-old know 10 flowers, bougainvillea. I speak to a woman from River Sally. I said, River Sally have so much of names in the village. Teach your little children the names of the villages. You hear me? Umpteen time. Say, teach your child to play music at 5. Don't tell me you don't have a musical instrument. You can buy an organ or a guitar or piano. Get a shell. $5 for the shell. You go eat the lambi. And we have so much job in the country now. Let your children start to blow your shell. You know how confident a little 5-year-old will be if they could blow the shell? That alone will help the child to learn better in school because they believe they could do something. A lot of the challenge we have is because the boys don't have the confidence in themselves. Teach them to play music. Yes, come welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
And good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. As being the topic of education, and so I just want to point out certain facts about history. Isn't it true that the first group of people that started to export people as slavery was the church? Right? You go right back to the Spanish kings and Louis and all those persons. They were the ones who sponsored people like Columbus and all these other guys to explore, right? For them to go ahead and do what they had to do. They were the ones who started mass exportation, right, of slaves from Africa and some even India, right? So sometimes we forget the role that Christianity, right, played in what is going on today, what is going on in Africa, right? The church in particular is the ones that were responsible for doing all those things. They basically, back in those days when you talk about the king and the queen, they were basically loyal to the religious leaders and everything like that. So it is not the Muslims and the Africans or even the Palestinians and these people and them that started the whole question of terrorism, terrorizing people from the homeland, right? Christianity was the first set of persons based on history, right, that started those things, and it continued because one of the things that we failed to realize, after a number of years, when you continue to abuse a person, right, when you continue to try to enslave them, they will retaliate at some point in time. You may not like what they do. It may not be right what they do, but they have to, because remember, what they are doing to you is not right. You understand? So, we have to be partial. We have to be equal in how we view people and their circumstances, right? I am not a Palestinian, and so I'm not a Muslim or whatever, but I sympathize with their cause. I also sympathize with the Israeli cause, because they have a right to exist and to live. And that must be clear, right? I can't accept that the Palestinians go in and murder how many persons there and everything like that. The truth will be told as to how it happened, and so I cannot do that. But let us understand what caused it, right? How things like that happen. For years, you blockading a particular people. My God, they are not ancient people. They are persons who understand how to live and the way to survive. They will retaliate, and we must be fair and give people options. Because come on, how can you enslave a people for their entire lives? How can you continue to murder thousands of persons, right? Thousands of persons around, right? And think that is okay. It is not okay. On either side. We have to find solutions for all these things. But most of the persons and leaders that are getting involved, they mean more harm than good. And Mr. Pierre, I must, stay along with you when it comes to education and how, for example, Gary and the Keith Mitchell administration dealt with education. They were the only two governments, in my view, right, who put out the most for education. The revolution, in my view, came third, right, because they only lasted 4.5 years, and they did their share, right? But in terms of educating and providing the structure, the infrastructure and things for education development, you must give credence, right, to Sir Eric Matthew Gary and Dr. Mitchell when it comes to school. And watch, so a gentleman just asked about what the Ministry of Education did for education or whatever. In the last 5-6 years, right, the amount of schools, right, not money that were built in terms of new, but renovated,
add on additional to schools right around the island. Millions of dollars were spent to develop that. And that was under the stewardship of Emlyn Pierre as Minister of Education. Mr. Pierre, have a good evening.
Yes, scholar, thank you. A number of issues I would love to discuss. And that is our last scholar for the day, so I'll just make one or two statements. One of them, the African leaders must be blamed for slavery. For 700 years before the white man go and buy slaves, Africans were selling slaves. And the Arabs, the Muslims was castrating slaves. We must never forget that. I see we spend a lot of time hating the white man and blaming the white man. And the white man has no right to go and buy slaves. But the African leaders have to apologize for slavery too. And I'm not a man who care. I don't care much about reparation. But if you get money, take. All money good. It doesn't matter. But where education is concerned, we have to forget all that. We're free long enough. We have our own university. The whole Caribbean is led by black people. So I'm not blaming the history for low productivity. I'm blaming us. And I'm zeroing that blame, not on the government, you know. The government spending 11% of the GDP on education. Teachers are more educated today than any other, more certificated than any other time in our history. And they have better remuneration. And they have more discretionary income. 25% of them, 20% go drive themselves to school. The technology backing is there. I want parents to get hungry for education. Our parents are not hungry for education. We have some 5-year-old children behaving like they are 1. We have some 17-year-old behaving as if they are 7 years. We have 17-year-old people behaving as if them is 13 and 14. No! We could do better. We have to do better. We have to make our parents hungry for education. The majority of children in school today, their parents had an opportunity to go to a secondary school. So the first set of teachers in the home. And every time I speak about education, I turn to our women. 60% of the household are led by women. And even the household that are led by men, the woman in charge. Man balance crap, she in charge. So women have to see education as part of the baby. And the schools have to tell the parents how to start to teach your child. Everybody have gadget, 5-year-old exposed to blues. Them 5-year-old children bad on their phone. Sometimes you have to turn to 7 and 8-year-old to help you on your phone. The children bright. But what are the programs they're looking at? Now we have to face reality. If we go with the blame game and blaming slavery and Christianity, and we won't reach no way. We have to zero in. We have what it takes to make the change. And I'm not blaming government again. I find the government doing the best for education. All governments, including this one. This group of vultures we have, they're trying to, where education is concerned. Our educators are the culprits. The teachers' union supposed to tell the government, they have a good relationship with the government. The teachers' union supposed to tell this group of immature political neophytes, you cannot put garbage on a playing field. The teachers' union executive, they have clout. They have clout with the government. If the president of the teachers' union, they pick up the telephone and call Deacon, this thing don't happen. Because he have clout. How could you put garbage on a playing field? The ministers go and dig up St. Patrick's playing field for what reason? What justification? You're not supposed to go in. Why do you dig it up for? But you interfere with it for. So we have to zero in where education is concerned. Otherwise, if our children cannot meet the minimum requirement when they exit school, then they can go send them in jail with the draconian laws. Yes, we want to thank you, and we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1, and you'll have an opportunity to punch. Thank you very much.
There's an island found and set aside by nature's plan. It's so beautiful to see. Really? Spice Island of the West. Lovely. And in the West Indies, I say Grenada, please. Overwhelmingly glad we ought to be of our country.